Hello, Africa. Good afternoon. No matter the country you are, no matter where you reside, we greet you according to your time zone and we greet you according to your language. Welcome to the African Portal Radio TV International. We are live and direct from our studio here in Pretoria, South Africa. It's going to be a beautiful conversation as we are going to be hosting one of our very own in the studio. And it's going to be a beautiful conversation as Nigeria Independence Day is at the corner. And we're going to be talking about that as well and the well-being of Nigerians in South Africa. So I call on everyone connecting to this broadcast, kindly share this program. Let this go viral. The more you share it, the more you give it opportunity to go viral. I have a great leader and one of the media icon with me in the studio that we going to be having the conversation together. Join me to make a warm welcome my guest to this beautiful conversation this afternoon. How are you, sir? And I'm so excited to have you here on the African Portal Radio TV International. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for
All right.
having me on the African Portal platform. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me allow you to introduce yourself to the listeners at home because I know you can do it better than what I will do. So please kindly introduce yourself to the listeners at home, who you are, where you are, and the position you hold in the society.
Okay. Okay, everyone, good evening. And I am the founder of the Guild of Nigerian Professionals South Africa. I'm also the founder of 12 Disciples Leaders. My background is in communications and law, as well as sociology. I am a politician, an author, a lawyer qualified, and I'm also a media strategist and a global diasporan Pan-African thought leader.
All right. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. For those of you connected to this broadcast, kindly share this program. Let it go viral. The more you share it, the more you give it opportunity to go viral. I celebrate you and I really appreciate the great work you are doing in the continent Africa and globally. Welcome to this broadcast this hour once again. So let me not take much of your time because I have to go straight to the point. But before that, let's talk about your organization, 12 Disciples. What is it all about? What do you do? What people need to know about this?
Okay, great. Thank you. So on the 10th of March 2020, 10th of March, right at the beginning of COVID, when people were dying around the world and the world was shutting down, I got this epiphany that after having been in diaspora, first in the UK for about 10 years, and also in South Africa, at that time I'd been in South Africa for almost 20 years, and I'd also lived in Ghana. I felt a sense of disconnection with my brothers and sisters who were politicians in Europe and America. I then decided that I was going to create a group, a cohort of a dozen Africans who are based in parts of Europe. Some are in Belgium. I think 3 are in the UK, and some are in Nigeria, and there's others in Canada and in Ireland. So we're politicians, or those who want to enter politics, that are in diaspora. But one of us is in Nigeria, and he has contested twice, one for House of Assembly in Ikeja in 2011, and then for House of Reps in 2019, Barrister Dayo Gunjebe. So we're very proud of what we've achieved in politics, in diaspora, and we believe that everyone should belong to a political party of their choice in diaspora in the countries where they reside.
Wow. Wow. With this, let me just quickly go to the conversation of today, which is centralized and is designed around the life of Nigerians in South Africa. Uh, are you happy with the situation of what is happening in South Africa? When we are talking about Nigeria and South Africa, their well-being, their day-to-day life, and all that. Are you happy with the situation that we have in the country?
Well, first, let me remind our viewers that this year, I suspect on the 21st of March, marked the 30th anniversary of formal relations between South Africa and Nigeria. I also want to remind our viewers that for about 30 years, Nigeria led the Special Anti Apartheid Committee at the United Nations. So for 30 years, Nigeria was leading that organization at the United Nations. But also, let me remind our viewers that Nigeria was the only non Southern African country to be regarded as a frontline state during the days of apartheid. But having said that, I must also then say, I start from the premise that the relationship between not the government, Nigerians in South Africa, the relationship between Nigerians in South Africa and our hosts are at the lowest ebb, in my view. A lot of things are not looking good. And whilst that is painful on the one hand, the relationships between Nigerians amongst each other is also at its lowest ebb. We have intertribal rivalry, we have gender imbalance, we have political intolerance, we have religious intolerance. We also now have Nigerians killing Nigerians in South Africa. Unprecedented, painful journey we're now in. And it is a sad commentary that is happening at a time when we thought that, we're going to be growing stronger in terms of our community. So I'll stop there for now.
All right. Thank you for that beautiful foundation that you laid, and I'm so excited that you set the record straight so that we can be able to have a guideline on this conversation this afternoon. Thank you very much. This is Bola Oluwaniyi Ashaju, great woman from UK. She's joining us, and she's also sent a great comment. I really appreciate it. Please kindly share this program. Let it go viral. The more you share it, the more you give it opportunity to go viral. And I call on everyone in diaspora, please kindly be part of this great conversation. Share, like, comment, send it out, invite somebody, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to join us on this live broadcast right here, right now, with one of our very own honorable Omotola Adetuji. Is live and direct on the African Portal Radio TV International. Honorable Motola, let's quickly look at the current situation now between the cultural groups within, because let's start from the from the bottom. The cultural groups, we are not talking about the tribe now. We are talking about the cultural groups. Yeah, the Yoruba say that they have about 23 or 25 cultural groups within South Africa. What does that mean to you?
I'll be very honest with you. I think the Yorubas, despite the fact that I was saying to someone yesterday at a very beautiful event that I attended, which was a celebration of South Africa's Heritage Day on the 24th of September in a suburb of Midrand in Johannesburg. I said to them that the Yorubas, at least in Nigeria since 1999, we've had the presidency twice. Well, we had it under President Obasanjo. Now we have it under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We also had Vice President Yemi Oshibajo as the Vice President. Then we had a lady, Patricia Ete, who was also removed. Now, when you look at the commanding heights of the political machinations that the Yorubas have held in Nigeria, it is a travesty when you see the hopelessness of some of the Yoruba people in our community in South Africa struggling to survive. We have ministers from all the states in Nigeria. In fact, in my state, Ogun, we have 3 ministers from Ogun State, unprecedented, because the Constitution says there must be 1 minister from each state. So when you look at the hopelessness and the divisions and the pettiness and the internecine rivalries amongst the Yorubas, the intertribal wars amongst the Yorubas in South Africa, it is a travesty, and we are not going anywhere, because I've not even seen a single governor in Yoruba land come and address even his own people. So what I say is that the Yorubas in South Africa are not led, and they're in the dark, and they must get off their high horse of superiority. That's my position.
Okay. Now let's look at the tribe. Let's look at the head to head between the Igbos and the Yorubas. The Yorubas say the Igbos are they don't give them chance to talk within the space and all that. There's so many things happen. There is Nikasa, there is Nixa. What is causing all this, and what is the solution to all this?
Well, first of all, I have alluded earlier to the fact that the Yorubas feel that they're superior, either in terms of intellect or lifestyle, to other tribes in Nigeria. There's no evidence that supports that. But also the fact is, the Igbos or the Igbos who speak Igbo, they're more organized, they're more focused, and they support one another, regardless of their flaws. They tend to rally round. The Yorubas would rather tell their brother who's running for office that don't associate yourself with those people because they're bad. So in such a situation, if a Yoruba person goes into a contest, the person is likely to lose. Then there are other Yorubas who want to be relevant at all costs, even to the detriment of their own brother and sister. So they are the ones who get used for these token positions that are always junior positions that are lobbed towards the Yorubas in order to give a sense of federal character to the positions that some of these umbrella bodies tend to fill up. And I always ask myself, in every election into all these organizations, is there a law that says they must fill up every position? And if they have to fill up every position, must they fill it up with even people who are not competent to carry out those tasks? And this is one of the major challenges of many Nigerian organizations. I call them being in office without being in power.
All right. A lot of people are connecting. Adio Made, thank you very much for connecting to this broadcast this hour. I really appreciate it. Kindly share this program. Invite somebody, tell somebody to connect with this broadcast. We are live on direct here in our studio in Waterkloof in Pretoria. And it's a beautiful conversation. It's time to talk about ourselves. One of the things that you mentioned earlier when we having a conversation before this broadcast is that we don't tell our story. We shy away from our story. We are people that we love to talk about others, but we don't talk about ourselves. Now, let's look at what you just mentioned now. The rivalry between the cultural groups and between the traditions in South Africa. This is affecting ordinary Nigerians in the street of South Africa. There are many Nigerians child now that they don't want to identify themselves with Nigeria. Let's say, for instance, look at the Chidima issue. I mean, none of the Nigerian groups or social groups or traditional or whatever come out to say, no, this is not right. Nobody speak for this lady. What is your view about this? Can we say that all these so-called groups don't have the mandate to speak out about such event or about such issue?
Okay, that's a very good question you pose. Look, I said the Nigerian community was caught flat-footed. First of all, I don't think many people were following the pageant. In fact, there were more than one, there were more than there were two ladies of Nigerian extraction who applied, or rather participated in this pageant. But unfortunately, by the time Chidima got to the final nine, that was when people started getting a sense that she was there. But what then happened was the Nigerian community was caught flat-footed because there was no plan in place. There was no structure in terms of media to be able to respond to the attacks on the poor young lady. And that is one of the things that I've been saying, that there's got to be a structure for relating to South Africans. There's got to be a media platform that Nigerians use to tell the stories about the stories that affect them as a people in South Africa, and also to be able to distill information to South Africans about what they're doing in their community. But that is missing at the moment. There isn't a structure, and that's why they were caught unawares. And when you're caught unawares when there's a crisis and you have no structure in place, it exposes you as a community. And I think the Nigerian community in South Africa was heavily exposed. We didn't have any unified response. People tried in their own individual way, but there wasn't any organization that took on the case and said, look, we're going to see this case through. We're going to be behind Chidima. This organization needs to be identified with this particular matter. There's elements of xenophobia or Afrophobia in these attacks, and it must not be allowed to stand. So that, in my view, was what happened in the Nigerian community.
All right. Okay, now let's look at the solution to that. What do we need to do? Do we need to collapse the existing structure and rebuild, or do we need to repair the existing structure? Because it's painful that we don't have any organization here in South Africa as a Nigerian community that can stand out and speak out for their people. What do we do?
Well, first of all, I've been talking about an all Nigeria conference that brings together all of these groups and many more other groups that we don't know about, because I think a lot of these groups, they don't have capacity. It's organized, it's voluntary. They don't, even those who are members who have their money, they can't use their money to fund the organization because it's not a business. It won't be profitable for them. And the current model that they use for funding is a very weak one, where they run after the missions to support them or give them access to their venues or buildings for events. But I think if we can have a conference that brings together the clergy, the academia, the professions, the artisans, the women, the student bodies, and many other groups that are not easily identifiable, to sit in the building for 2 days or 3 days and are paid delegates, and I insist paid delegates, not just random folks who haven't got commitment to be there for those 3 days, paid delegates who could then deliver papers that talk to the challenges our people face, be it in healthcare, education, be it in the prison or the justice system, be it in home affairs in relation to permits, or even issues that affect Nigerians who don't carry what we spoke to earlier about the national identity number and BVN, the time it takes to get a Nigerian passport or a visa, many other issues about business in South Africa, registering as a legal business and having your taxes, insurance. There's a litany of issues that affect us, not only us, but we need to start looking at the ones that really affect our people directly on a day-to-day. The trauma, the psychological trauma that many feel about being marginalized, not being able to identify yourself as a Nigerian, dress the way you and I are dressed. I tend to dress like this more often. because it's easier for me. I don't have to wear a tie. I managed to escape from London, where I need to tie my neck like a chicken almost every day. But anyway, so there we are.
Hmm, hmm. All right, thank you very much. So now, if we are talking about this conference or seminar or workshop, when will this happen? Because we're talking is cheap. We've been talking about it; it's never come to the reality. Are you championing this? Is this coming anytime soon? And what is the plan towards this?
Okay, look, I am on record for having spoken about this. I set up a WhatsApp group. I sent the proposal, which I can share with you. It's not a secret document. I sent it to the immediate past Consul General, Ambassador Andrew Edie. He promised to do something about it. He escaped without doing anything. He has left for the Republic of Nigeria. His successor, I have not met, but I'm speaking to, I think, the number two at the High Commission. But now, in fact, I've changed it from an all Nigeria conference to an immigration conference because I saw that is the most important issue that affects our people. If we can sort out immigration, we'll be able to sort out all the other issues easily. So, well, we can still have the all Nigeria conference and have the immigration as one of the line items. But I think the immigration conference is even more important. Now, in terms of the time frame, I'd like to see it happen maybe in 6 weeks from now, before the end of the year. Perhaps maybe on Ken Saro-Wiwa's anniversary of his death, which is the 11th or 10th of November. I used to do the Ken Saro-Wiwa events every year to remember the great man who was killed by the Nigerian government. So we can use that date, 10th of November. His birthday is on the 10th of October, but he was killed along with the Ogoni 8 on the 10th of November 1995. And if you remember, Nigeria was sacked from the Commonwealth. So, and the reason why I choose dates like this is that we need to start linking our future to the dates in our national life that have relevance. So whether it's the date of birth of Awolowo or June 12th or January 15th, when the first coup happened, or May 29th, when is the handover date, we can't just take a date that doesn't have any relevance to our history and our people. So I would say 10th of November, it gives us about 6 weeks or 5 weeks if we're focused. There's no reason why we can't organize a conference for progress in 6 weeks. People even have emergency, the United Nations Security Council, they have emergency meetings in 2 days. And people will have to fly in from wherever they are. So, but my suspicion is that, as I say all the time, Nigerians are not a serious people, especially those of us who are in diaspora. We're not serious about the issues that affect our people. And in Yoruba, they'll say, Kilo komi, kokomi, which means it doesn't affect me directly. So someone like me, I shouldn't even be interested because I have residency in South Africa, I'm a lawyer, and I've got a British passport. So my application in South Africa is based on my British citizenship, not on my Nigerian citizenship. But of course, Nigeria and Britain and even South Africa recognizes dual citizenship. And that is what I'm enjoying. But you will see Nigerians who don't even have permits, and they're not interested in an immigration conference. You know that they're suffering from psychological burden. There's a psychological burden that our people have, that you don't have a paper, but you're driving a fancy car. It is the height of stupidity on steroids. And we need to start challenging this narrative. Somebody who has no paper is driving a fancy car. You become vulnerable because when the police stop you, you might end up in jail or deported. But they don't listen. Some of them are stubborn goats. They're stubborn goats.
All right. Now let's quickly go to other side of this conversation, which is the flipping side of it. Let's look at you as a politician, and I want to say this to you that your work within and outside African continent is commendable, and we say well done. Let's look at the issue of NIN within Nigeria. A lot of people are complaining about that. A lot of people are complaining about Nigerian passport not coming out on time. A lot of people are saying that the 5 years passport is not worth it. We should have 10 years passport, and the NIN should be free. We shouldn't be paying for it. All this is one of the things gaining momentum in our community, in our society. What is your view about this as a politician and also as a community leader?
Okay, first of all, I think the national identity number, which is now it's almost like a badge of honor. It's almost like if you don't have it in Nigeria, you can't do anything. I think it's unfortunate that people have to be desperate to get their own national identification number. And I think it's also grossly unfortunate that even in Nigeria, where it is free to get it, free, I was lucky to visit Alausa, because before the national identity number, you could get it through so many vendors. Even MTN could do it for you. And they used to have this fancy machine, and people could capture it for you anywhere. But now you have to go to the office of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So I went to Alausa, and I'm happy that you're giving me this opportunity, because I must share the story of my ordeal at the NIN office in Alausa in April this year. I wasn't the one applying for the NIN. I went there with my wife, my beautiful wife. She went to apply. And I, as a politician, decided to engage my people. And I saw an elderly man standing and looking forlorn and tired. It was about 10 in the morning. There was a crowd waiting outside the window. There were three windows, or three queues. One was for those whose NIN had been rendered invalid. They had it before, but it was now invalid. One was for some other window, I've forgotten what that was for, maybe inquiries. And another window was for collection. But guess what? There was no electricity. So people were just in the queue, there was no movement. And so I proceeded to speak to the elderly gentleman. In fact, I put my name down on the list. You know, Niger style, they have a list. They want to comply, so that at least, even if the queue is rough, there's a list that will guide them when the windows open. I put my name, that was number 52. I then spoke to the gentleman, saw that he was tired, he wasn't looking happy. So I proceeded to go and ask for a chair for him to sit down. That was the beginning of my problems. So as I got to the door to ask for a chair, one of the NCSDC, this civil defense guy with a lot of muscles, like Anthony Joshua, the boxer, he had a lot of muscles on him. So he was so angry and irritated with me that I was asking for a chair for someone else and not even dealing with my own problem. So he banged the glass door in my face with the force that I thought the door had already shattered the glass door. But anyway, because I'm a lawyer and I know my rights, I told him off, and I said he needs to apologize to me. And his colleague then said I should calm down. But long story short, they gave me the chair, and I proceeded to speak to the people that were there. And they said to me that even when there's electricity, they tell them the systems are down. Mothers and children were sitting on the floor. They were looking sad. They had not eaten. There was no water. There was no chair at this Alausa office of NIN. And I told them, who did they vote for? Who is their counselor? Who is their House of Rep? Who is their House of Assembly? Who is their minister? None of them could assist me. So I told them that they're stupid. Because how do you vote for people you don't know? This is the height of stupidity. But I proceeded to give the ladies some money because they looked scared and hungry and tired and miserable. And my wife, of course, she lodged the application, and then we left. So that's in Nigeria, where it is free People are being treated like animals. Now, coming to South Africa, you and I know that anything that is free in Nigeria may not necessarily be free in South Africa because we don't have, first of all, we talked about even Nigerian organizations not having capacity to handle the issues that affect our people here. Now, who's going to make it free for Nigerians here? Where's the government? Where's the budget? Where's the revenue? Which organization here generates revenue like the Nigerian Ports Authority or the Nigerian Customs or the NNPC? So Nigeria can be free because there are revenue generating centers in Nigeria. So one, let's forget about the freeness. In fact, let's forget about asking that is so cheap, because if you are to go to Nigeria, as I've done, to go and register for my INEC PVC and go back to collect it, the cheapest ticket to Nigeria now, Air Rwanda, is 8,000 Rand. So how much is this NIN today? But because it's compulsory to have it, I think that people should be reasonable with because if it's free in Nigeria, it shouldn't then become too exorbitant here. But again, if people are not happy, when you're not happy about something, do something about it, go to court. You know, the companies that are involved in this matter are legal entities registered in South Africa, I suspect. Don't just cry like babies. Nigerians are very good at crying like babies, grown men and women, crying, educated people, crying like babies in a democracy when you know that you can go to the courts. There are three organs of government in a democratic situation. There's the legislature, there's the executive, and the judiciary. Nigerians focus on only executive and the legislature. I don't see Nigerians talking about judicial officers. We seem to have forgotten that that's the third leg. And then the fourth leg is the fourth estate, the media. They won't even go to the media to complain about this main thing. They won't do anything. They just sit in a pepper soup joint and a beer parlor and complain all day. And that's why I told you earlier that Nigerians in diaspora were not serious about any issue that affects our people. We are always flying blind and we talk too much and no action. And it's always on WhatsApp groups, not even on Twitter.
All right. Thank you very much for that point. I'm taking you somewhere. I'm just laying the foundation. I'm making sure that I'm keeping the notes so that I can be able to address each one of them one by one. Now let's look at it. Nigeria is going to turn 64 in the next few days. Is it worth celebrating? Are we happy that Nigeria is 64? Is it something that we need to be talking about? Do we really need to celebrate that day?
Well, first of all, I am not very happy to hear about independence days of African nations. Maybe the only one that I will be excited about, and it's because of what happened at the Olympics. There's a young man, a 21-year-old African by the name of Letsile Tebogo, who is the 200 meters Olympic champion, and he also won a silver in the relay. Now, this is a country of 2 million people boasting an Olympic champion, first African in the 200 meters sprints, because even the great Frankie Fredericks of Namibia could only get a silver in the World Championship. So we're going to be celebrating Botswana at 58 on September 30. Now, moving to Nigeria, look, I think we should move away from this hollow ritual of celebrating independence without much achievement. Even if we look at the track record of the current government, this current government has moved from one banana skin to another. So it would be remiss of them to be the ones hosting a party to celebrate what would be a hollow ritual, in the sense that we just tick the box. But what I would like to propose, though, is that on that day, since we didn't even get a single medal in the Olympics, this Olympics, we should be doing an audit, a post-mortem of the Olympics of 2024. or we should be celebrating maybe our basketball women's team that got the record of being the first African team, women or men, to get to the quarterfinals of the Olympics. And they were giant killers. So we can celebrate Nigerians who are doing well, but not the independence itself, because we are still dependent. Our president still went to China 2 weeks ago to beg for money from Xi Jinping, from President Xi. He left his country of 200 million people, all rich, with 70 million in diaspora, remitting $32 billion every year to go and beg for money from the Chinese. It should be the reverse. It should be the Chinese begging us for money, because we have far more natural resources than China. But then again, because we don't have an agenda and because we don't have a plan or a strategy, that is why we always fall into the basket of countries that can't manage their affairs. I mean, you can imagine the embarrassment where the Nigerian president is sitting with the president of Comoros, the president of Togo, and they're all there to beg for money from the Chinese because they're owing China so much money. So they continue to beg China for money. But here's the deal. I'd rather we sell to China. We must sell to China, but we must manufacture the products that we sell to China. So independence, October 1st, is a hollow ritual. It will not change our balance sheet. It won't reduce the price of fuel in Nigeria. It will not help a single Nigerian get their permit on that day, which is a Tuesday. If I'll be going for a wine tasting on that day, I'm going to taste wine. I don't have time to waste on events that have no value, doesn't add any 1 rand to my account. In fact, I will use my petrol to go to Pretoria, jollof rice that I can cook myself and I can make dodo. So what's the value for me? So we should be celebrating our great athletes and doing an audit of why we went to the Olympics, spent 12 billion, and we came with no medal. A country of 200 million people and a country of 2 million people, the guy got a gold medal and 30,000 people went and received him at the stadium. How many people received our Olympic team? Have they even paid them their allowances? Because I'm sure that's the next thing that's going to happen. So we're not really a serious people about the issues. We're not interested in issues.
All right. With that, let's quickly look at what you have in mind for the Nigeria Independence Day. This is one of the things that I think that you need to look out for, because let's start creating a brand. Let's start creating something that will bring revenue, that will bring something back to us. So tell us more about this. What is the vision? What is the dream? What is it all about? Let's talk about this.
Yes, if you remember, there's a lady of blessed memory that created a concept around brand Nigeria, Dr. Dora Akinyuli, who was the former DG of NAFDAC. And then there was a minister we had, Edem Duke, that was very, charismatic minister under President Jonathan that used to promote Nigeria. But since the new government, well, no longer new, this government has come to power, the APC government, there hasn't been any drive to promote brand Nigeria. Yes, we have a NICOM that celebrates Nigerians in diaspora, but what is brand Nigeria? So these hats, in my view, I think every Nigerian should have a hat that has Nigeria emblazoned on it, so that on a day like October 1st, whenever Nigeria is playing, or the Olympics, whatever it is the Nigerians are involved in, we can wear that hat. And it's a symbol of our country, that we appreciate our country, that despite all the challenges we face, from civil wars, coups, terrorism, kidnapping, banditry, corruption in the highest places, rigging of elections, declaring the loser as the winner and the winner as a loser, that we still owe it to our motherland, that we still love our country. You don't throw the baby out with the bath water. So those hats are to replenish our soul, because Nigerians are carrying a heavy burden wherever they are. And our leaders are not very sensitive, and they forget that power is transient. Nobody can be in power for 100 years, but at least not one individual. Maybe we have dynasties, but one individual cannot be in office for 100 years. So that's what they have represented. It represents patriotism, even though sometimes I call it blind patriotism, because for what is happening in Nigeria, sometimes you feel like you should even denounce Nigeria. But because some of us had some of our best experiences growing up in Nigeria, it's difficult to shake away that bond. And therein lies the dilemma of being a Nigerian. So we're fiercely proud, but we're deeply damaged. But the heart maybe will give us some restoration, some hope, especially as we move into the last quarter of 2024, what I call the year of victory.
Hmm. All right, thank you very much. So, for those of you that you would like to be part of that, you want to order or you want this to be part of the thing you have in your home, you can call +277-870-33-584. We have copies of this available. Let's celebrate Nigeria at 64 in this manner, and call us on that number. We will definitely direct you and also get it ready for you. So call on +277-870-33-584. That is part of advertisement.
And I
We
just
need to make
wanted to
money
add,
as
yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add to that. You see,
all right.
for those who want to win the hat, you can win the hat if you can answer some trivia questions about Nigeria, particularly around the different cultures that we have in Nigeria, the different cultures, the different tribes in Nigeria. We'll be doing some trivia questions so you can win a hat for free. We'll ask you some questions, simple questions, and then you can get a hat, a giveaway. Nigeria is a very great country, beautiful people, very dynamic, very inspiring people. But our problem has always been unity and leadership. Those two things have eroded us for far too long in our history. And we in diaspora are ready to lead.
All right. Now let's talk about the current situation, Nigerian killing Nigeria in South Africa. That is one of the big issue that I think we need to attend to. Uh, Tell us more about this. Is this out of the track? Is it now something of the past, or is this still continue? What is the way out? What is the solution to this?
Well, first of all, it is very unfortunate that in the same country where we've been fighting very hard to try and get Nigerians to, to obey the laws and reduce the temperature that leads to the kind of evacuation of 601 Nigerians on two Air Peace flights in 2019 September. 5 years ago, if you remember, Oluson, two aircrafts came here to pick Nigerians and take them away because they were scared after the xenophobic attacks that targeted Nigerians in Pretoria and Johannesburg. Now, you then look at it and say, wow, so we have a trend now where Nigerians are killing each other. Well, I know that Nigerians are killing Nigerians in Nigeria. We have Boko Haram and all sorts of killings are happening there. Very terrible things that are happening there. But I didn't expect to see a trend of that in South Africa. But there's a research that I've read, and I believe I shared that information with you a few hours ago. I talked about this jealousy, this bitterness amongst members of a particular tribe. At least that's what the research led or showed, that they're envious. Sometimes it's a business deal gone wrong, and they then set up, they use the street kids that are hooked on Yahoo Pay in Durban, particularly. The research was on a particular street in Durban. And it was tragic for me to see that because it makes our work difficult. Because if you now have Nigerians killing Nigerians, how then do you, when there's a mob of South Africans that attack a Nigerian and say alleged drug dealer beaten to death or burnt to death in Limpopo, how do you begin to challenge that? So I think, again, it's a function of poor leadership. We don't have capacity, even in our missions. We change our high commissioners and consul generals too often. Since 2013, I think we've had about 6 consul generals, 6 or more high commissioners in a decade. Some countries, they have 1 high commissioner for 10 years. I'm not saying that that's the best module, but you can't be changing your high commissioners like Pampas that babies wear, right? And you can't also have missions that you don't give support enough capacity. When you have, a large amount of your people in a country like South Africa, where there are many challenges, even internal challenges for South Africans, for the citizens, you got to capacitate your mission. The Nigerian situation in South Africa is very different from the Nigerian situation in the UK or in Ghana. It's like Palestine. You're not going to compare Palestine with Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates. But these countries are all Arab countries, right? They're all Arab countries, and they have a relationship with Israel. It might not be cozier, but they are not at each other's throat, right? Like Palestine and Israel. So I think that because we have poor leadership, and because too many Nigerians just want to be relevant for the sake of relevancy. Oh, I'm the president of this organization. I'm the secretary of this organization. And another problem our people have that we must challenge is, how can you be a member of an exco of 5 different organizations? 5, 4, 3. What are you going to achieve being president here, secretary there, BOT here, whatever? These are confusionists. These are the people that confuse. And then another thing our people do, when they lose an election in an organization, they form a faction in that organization. And after a while, they will split from that organization and set up another one. We have it in the Yoruba community. Nesa becomes Ayitsa. I think Ayitsa is also splitting up. The egg has been cracked. And, Oane Zendi Igbo, they split Igbo Forum, Nigerian Women's Association, there's a Yoruba Women, there's Igbo Lawyers Association. We're not a serious people. No one should take us seriously, because we don't even take ourselves seriously. I mean, how can you have 26 Yoruba organizations and none of them have the voting right, by the way? They can't vote from here. So what is the value of those associations? How many of them can donate R1 million to a serious cause in South Africa? Those organizations, like the way we see with the Ellen Suzman Foundation, with Solidarity, with AfriForum, with the Gift of the Givers, how many of these Nigerian organizations have 100,000 rand in their accounts? How many? And they have presidents and chairman, and some of them even have 6 titles: professor, chief, doctor, Igwe, Otumba, and so on. It's all 0 over 100 because there's nothing to show for it. Nothing. We're just embarrassing ourselves in a foreign country. So we need to start behaving humble so that people can respect us and deal with issues that affect the people on the ground, not the elites, not access to the high commissioner. The fact that you have access to the high commissioner is you can't take it to Standard Bank. They won't give you a loan because you know the high commissioner. They'll ask for your business plan. So these are the realities that Nigerians in diaspora, and I'm not saying these issues are unique. Even in the UK, it's worse. I was there. There's no leadership there. They're even worse because we know who the leaders are.
Honorable Omotola, let's make it snappy because we have just about 5 minutes to round up this conversation. I don't want to exhaust this so much, and I don't want to waste your time because I know you're a very busy person. You have a lot of things on your table to attend to. Let's look at the past election in South Africa. What role did Nigeria play during that election? Another thing is that there is let me call it a sentiment, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, that say that we are not adding any value to South African economy. How true is that? What is your view about
Well,
this?
first of all, let me take the latter statement. Of course, we are adding value to the South African economy. All of us that are here, whether you're buying bread, you buy a car, you have a mortgage, you employ people. I know Nigerians, some of my friends have 80 employees, some have, some combination employing almost 1,000 people. There are many Nigerians who are doing very well in this country in different professions, from the arts to medicine to law. There's so many Nigerians who are doing amazing things. So let's put that aside. In fact, it's been shown, evidence has shown that migrants work harder than the locals. If you look at the US study on Nigerians, the earning potential of Nigerians is in the top quartile in the US, in the UK, in Canada. That is already a given. Nigerians we're showstoppers, we're very hardworking, we're well educated, we're mobile, upwardly mobile, and we have global connections. So we have people in Canada, people in the US, people are everywhere. Nigerians are everywhere. So in terms of that, let's put that aside. But the elections of 2024, very critical elections, Nigerians were not visible. Neither were we visible as volunteers, as campaign managers, spokespersons, um, on TV, as pundits. We were not part of the show. Like the Olympics, we didn't pitch. We came out short. Look, I thought that in the era of smaller parties like Rise and Zanzi and the Patriotic Alliance, Action SA, and even the new MK, Mkonto Wesizwe Party, which is the youngest political party in South Africa, that a few Nigerians, even if they're not on the ballot, that they would have found their way in, maybe through their wives or their colleagues, to be involved somehow. But again, because we are not focused about the issues, our people are not focused. They are more interested in what is happening in Nigeria with Labour Party and APC and PDP. The same PDP that they won't join in South Africa. They won't join the party, but they're interested in what APC and PDP are doing in Nigeria. Look, we have psychological burden. We're going to need a lot of psychiatrists in the room to help us because we've been defeated. It's almost like a psychological burden has been placed on us, a curse, that you're not interested in the political parties where you live and eat and work. And you're not interested in even the chapters of the political parties in the country that you come from. APC South Africa, PDP South Africa, you're not interested in them. But you're interested in what APC, do election, undo election. We have misplaced priorities. And that is why we're not respected also back at home. Because we're not focused on the things that concern us. We live in South Africa. We should be interested in the South African elections. The budget is coming. We should be interested in the cabinet. We should be interested in the policies of not just the ANC, but the opposition DA, the EFF, and so on. And in fact, some of us set up platforms.
Honorable Tola, Honorable, let me engage you a bit in that because I think we need to have an engagement on this. Some of this party you mentioned in South Africa, like Patriotic Alliance, like Action SA, some of this party don't have interest in foreigners. As a matter of fact, they are anti-foreigner. So how do you want people like Nigeria to be involved? Because they are not interested in us. Do we need to force ourselves on them?
I use those names deliberately. I said people must join the party of their choice. There are people, I give you an example. Look at Kemi Badenoch, the only black female left in the race for the Conservative Party leadership. She's Nigerian, but she's married to a white gentleman, Mr. Badenoch. But she's the only black female left in the race to replace Rishi Sunak, right? So what I'm saying to you, there may be Nigerians who are sympathize with the Action SA policies. The fact that they sympathize with Action SA policies, Action SA has issues with illegal migrants, I believe, illegal migrants, right? Illegal. And the same way that many parties have a serious issue, like Patriotic Alliance, with illegal migrants, especially those who are committing crime. So their position is very strong, unlike the ruling party and the DA. Whereas the EFF says, look, black people should not be targeted, right? That all this borders thing is an artificial thing. They protect migrants because they feel that as black people, we're all one people, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
the fact that somebody doesn't have a paper in Africa should not be an issue. So what I'm saying is, I can't tell people which party to join, but we mustn't be emotional, because even the parties that are not pro-migrants, they are against illegal migrants, especially those committing crime. And people are entitled to take a position, because some of these guys are also clever. They take this position because they know that they will get sympathy and support. So they use it as a tool to come to power. Okay? So they're not stupid. They're using it. When they talk far right, people take a position that brings them to power.
Let me quickly clarify something in that. Like you mentioned that these parties, they are not against foreigner, they are against the illegal migrants. Some of the people, like let's look at the issue of additional, for instance. Patriotic Alliance and Action SA are particularly are so interested in this case, and you can't come out and say that additional is illegal. I mean, is a legal migrant, because the only Home Affairs needs to prove that. But even before the Home Affairs prove that, these two parties already in a case are sorting out physically, verbally, and all that. I mean, there must be something to be doing. To correct in that.
Yeah, look, I think they made a mistake to jump into that matter. I think they didn't wait for all the facts to be in their possession before they spoke. I think they spoke out of turn, especially when the minister said the fact that she's Nigerian is giving funny vibes already. And then Mashaba talked about in the video that he's sure that some of those people are illegal migrants. I think those are unfortunate comments. But remember, these guys have to play to their constituency. These are people who are saying that, look, people who are in the country illegally, they must be deported, they must be this and that. So they are playing to their base. So if a big issue like that happens, Miss SA, everybody's up in arms, and they don't say anything. They will be seen as, being hypocritical. So I'm not surprised that they made those statements, but I think it was unfortunate that they made those statements. But in the end, what happened? What happened at the end? In the Chidima saga, we're still left with egg on our faces, allegation of stolen identity. She had to drop out. And if not for the generosity offer that came from the Silverbird organization, perhaps she would be in a state of disrepair now and dealing with all sorts of trauma. A young girl who didn't commit any crime on her own, and as it was said. So we also have to understand that Nigeria, or even migrants in South Africa, I remember when President Zuma said that if African leaders take care of their countries, there's no reason why there should be so many Africans, especially those who have no papers and all of that, that will now trigger xenophobic attacks. So why is it? That's a question that I also want to find out. Why is it that after 60 years of independence of many African states, if you remember in 1960, 17 African nations got independence. 17. So at the end of 1960, 26 African nations were now independent. Why is it that so many African states are still supplying migrants in volume to their African neighbors when they have president, prime minister, national assembly, army, police, and so on? What is the problem? Why can't we govern our
Honorable Tunji, please do me a favor. What can we do, I mean, to address the issue of the Chidima in the court? I mean, I'm talking about the future now, I'm not talking about the past. For the role that the two political parties played, what can we do to make sure that this kind of mistake don't repeat itself?
Look, as I said to you, when the case happened, Nigerians were caught flat-footed. Nigerians don't have any established media, mainstream media, your online media. But I mean, you can't compare your reach in South Africa. We have 60 million, 63 million South Africans. How many South Africans are watching this show, for example? Like the way they're watching Moja Love and so on. So we don't really have a response. There's nothing we can do. We're just going to watch. We're spectators. That's what we do best. Nobody's interested. People are more interested in expanding their business, which they should do, but they're not interested in expanding the conversation about Chidima. 2 months or a month after, well, over a month after, there's been no debate at community level. We have not been able to speak to the lawyers or the PR agency to say what happened. I've seen the opinion from the lawyers, but I don't know if that opinion has gone through South African media. I've not seen a list of media that they send that opinion, a very good opinion, by the way. So we're not a serious people. So you're asking about the future. The future is now. Where have you seen a press conference by people who are acting for Chidima Adesina to say that, look, this is the position, this is where we're at, in spite of the fact that she's now Miss Universe Nigeria, the case is still sub judice. Home Affairs is doing the investigation, but as lawyers, this is the course of action that we want to take. Absolutely nothing has been spotted. So we're not a serious people on issues. And if you look at it, it's consistent with Africa. When there's a crisis abroad internationally, Lebanon, for example, the only country that took Israel to task on the issue of Palestine was South Africa. We are not known for taking up global leadership. And I said that if Nelson Mandela were to be alive, he would have said something on Chidima, because I know how Mandela thinks. He's a global leader. He thinks deeply about issues. Mandela would have said something, but people didn't say. The people who were supposed to speak on Chidima didn't speak, and that's why we haven't made any progress.
Do you think this is one of the syndrome of divide and rule that have been planted by the Western, or do you think that this is a natural thing that is happening to Africa within themselves?
No, we can't continue to blame our former colonial masters for our lazy intellectual thought process. I think that Africans are not ready to fight for other Africans. In fact, we tend to we connect with the person, but we won't do anything. We won't even look out of the window. And that's the nature of the game, because I've watched when things happen here. So, for example, if the gentleman who died in Zambia, the vice president of Zambia, he died in a plane crash. How
The plane
many
crash.
people went to the Zambian embassy to fill out the condolence register? When the Ugandan lady was burnt to death by her boyfriend, the Ugandan Olympic athlete who ran in Paris, when she was burnt to death just recently, how many Africans here or anywhere went to the Ugandan embassy to sign a condolence register? When I told you, we're not serious folks. We're not just serious. It doesn't. We're more interested in the Premiership, and nothing wrong with the Premiership football or Big Brother or being on Instagram, posting nice pictures on Instagram and increasing our followers and talking on WhatsApp groups. This is what we do, or creating factions, or saying Emiloko and so on. Emiloko, that's what we are good at.
All right. Honorable Omotola, there's so many things to talk about, but I thank you for coming out. Before I let you go, let's talk about the education, especially within the Nigeria and South Africa. What is your advice, and what do we need to do right, especially in the area of education?
Look, I think the Nigerians, look, if you ask me, I think the Nigerians, we are overeducated. And I'm not talking about the literacy rate now. I'm talking about Nigerians, you see a 50-year-old man who has a PhD, still wants to go and do a master's and wants to do another PhD. We're overeducated per capita. Those who are educated have too many qualifications. But what we need to start doing now is to use our knowledge to educate those, the knowledge we have already, to educate those in our community who don't have enough knowledge, particularly our languages. There's no Nigerian language that is given any pride of place in South Africa. And we have some tribes in Nigeria that have over 40 million people. The Yorubas are certainly more than 40 million. I suspect the Igbos are probably close to that. And the Hausa Fulani are more than that. But you will not see any Nigerian language being featured, whether on SABC Channel Africa or Wits Language School. And we're the largest population in Africa. In fact, we're the biggest black nation on earth. So we need to start teaching people about our history, our culture, our language, and we need to dip in, as I said, without unity, we're not going to achieve much. We need to start being serious. But I believe that we are overeducated per capita, those who have studied, but we need to still use that advantage and give back. South Africa has a higher literacy rate than Nigeria, but maybe that's also a function of our population. But what we need to do, because without education, there's no opportunity. But we need to start giving that knowledge we have, passing it down to others, because when we die, we're gone. With the knowledge we have is gone. We can't call Mandela back or Mugabe or Nkrumah. So our knowledge should be shared. We should do it like a franchise. So if you're a professor, have 2 or 3 students that you are coaching. South Africans ideally, if you find a Nigerian, but go for the young people because the elder ones are stubborn. They don't want to learn new tricks.
All right, Honorable Omotola, thank you for coming out. Let's call it a day from here, and I want to propose something to you. Is it possible we have this once in a month?
I'm happy to be on this great platform of intellectuals and Pan-Africans. Nigerians in diaspora will lead. There's an article I've written about how Nigerians in diaspora will be the trajectory for leading the continent to greater prosperity. And there's already evidence of that from Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, people like Chimamanda Adichie. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the best basketballers in America, one of the most efficient. And you have Kemi Badenoch, who is in the shadow cabinet in the UK. And then you have Wale Adeyemo, who is in Biden's cabinet. He's a deputy treasury secretary. Nigerians are amazing. It's just that we are not serious people about the issues that affect our people. And that is why they beat us down and we're sad. And we have a government, and our government needs to show that it cares. Our foreign minister must always be accessible. Our foreign minister, not the diplomat. That is the true spirit of leadership. The foreign minister of the largest black nation on earth must be accessible to the people who need him the most, those who are in diaspora, because he's like our president, if you get what I mean. The foreign minister is like our president, those of us who are outside the country. Is the foreign minister. He mustn't be a local minister, a foreign minister. Ambassador Tuga, over to you.
All right. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. And everyone sending it out. Thank you very much. I got some people that is connecting from Nigeria commenting, and I got a lot of questions which we are not going to be able to deal with this time around because of our time. There is so many response. A lot of people are talking about you, your boldness, and a lot of people are saying that we need more people like you. I'm getting a lot of feedback from people out there, and they are celebrating the great work you are doing in the continent and globally. Honorable Tunji Omotola, thank you very much for coming out to be part of this conversation. Please, next time when we are coming back, is going to be another beautiful topic, another beautiful time, as we're going to be talking about issues that have to do with Africa, with Nigeria, especially here in South Africa. To know more, go to www.adetunjiomotola.com for more information, questions, or whatever you want to know about him. Please go to that website right now. Thank you very much, Honorable Omotola. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Have a good day. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Bye. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. That's a beautiful, lovely conversation with Honorable Omotola, and it's going to continue by the grace of God. Next month, we're going to have a good time with him, and we're going to address some of the problems that we are facing in the continent, especially Nigeria in South Africa. But today, let's call it a day. Let me quickly go to the aspect that is very important. Let's make some money. Let's quickly put some one or two things in the spotlight on the African Portal Radio TV International. Remember, Distinguished Nigeria Award. This is 5.0. That is the fifth one. He's going to be a great one. Double Chief Akin Williams say, I must put this on the spotlight. And that is what is going to happen right here, right now. Let's talk about it. If you have not heard about it, please go out there, be part of this. We have few days to go, and it's just around the corner. So I'm calling on everyone to please be part of this. Let's celebrate the distinguished Nigerians in Nigeria and across the globe. So that is one of the things that is gaining momentum on the African Portal right now, right here. So it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lovely time. If you are in Lagos, you are to be there. So don't miss this. He say the much anticipated and the publicized of this year edition of the Distinguished Nigerian Merit Award Season 05 is coming up on October 1st at the Preston Hotel and Suites, Allen Avenue, roundabout, Ikeja, Lagos. So we are inviting every one of you. Nigeria is an annual national event in commemoration of the Nigeria Independence Day. So that celebration is coming on Tuesday. The African Portal will be talking about it, and we have other media houses as well that will be talking about it. The media partner, Elite International Magazine, and also the African Portal, South Africa and Nigeria. Also, we have Niger FM also talking about it. We also have the Nation newspaper, City People International Magazine, and other media houses that is promoting this. Double Chief Ake Williams is one of the organizers and is the one that said we should put this on the spotlight to let people know that Distinguished Nigeria Award 5.0 is coming next week, Tuesday, Nigeria Independence Day, 1st of October. Be there. See you there. The African Portal Radio TV International. We are inviting every one of you. We will be there as well, that we're going to be making things happen there. So please join us 1st October 2024. Let's celebrate Distinguished Nigeria Award 5.0. Come, let's do it together. Thank you all and God bless you. That is from Double Chief Akin Williams. And I really appreciate every one of you that you are connecting to this broadcast this hour. I celebrate every single one of you and I really appreciate your time on this broadcast this hour. And at the same time, we have one of our very own, that is Babagaji, all the way from UK, Alhaji Isiaka Kokumo Mogaji, patron of this great club in UK, and they are letting you know that the Pretty Babes Global present first anniversary celebration, and that is going to be a great one. The African Portal is putting it on the spotlight. The first anniversary celebration of this great club, Pretty Babes Global, and it's going to happen in UK. So Alhaji Kokuma is sending his greeting to all the members and executive from the Christiana Isaiah Yeye Gold president. Is sending this greeting to her as well, and also to many of the members and executive, and is letting them know that we are celebrating them as well on the African Portal. Let me mention a few names. Mrs. Mary Fashakin is also one of the executive, and also we also have Alhaji Kokuma, which is one of the executive as well, and we have also one of our very own also in UK that is part of the Alhaji Isiaka Kokuma is patron. Chief Taiwo Fashakin is also patron, and also Professor Slee is also advisor. We have different advisor, Yeye Olado, Mommy Omo Tambaje Alade is also part of them, and also we have Mrs. Molikat Fakos, advisor Egbe Pretty Babes, and also we have others as well that we will not be able to mention names. So we celebrate this first anniversary of Pretty Babes Global on the African Portal Radio TV International, and we celebrate all the members. I cannot be mentioning the names because we don't have much time on this program, but Babagaji said I should put you on the spotlight on the African Portal and also celebrate every single one of you and let you know that this great celebration is coming up and is going to happen in UK. It's going to happen in UK, 27th September 2024, 2 p.m. till midnight. It's 8:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. midnight. So we are inviting every one of you. All the roads lead to 770 Rushy Green Road. That is Carford in London. Let's go there. Let's make it happen. Let's be there. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lovely time. Don't miss it. First Pretty Babes Global Anniversary. That is coming to you from the African Portal Radio TV International here in Victoria, South Africa. I celebrate all the members and all the executive. I celebrate every single one of you. And I really appreciate Babagaji for putting this on the spotlight on the African Portal Radio TV International. 27th September is going to be a great time in London. Don't miss it. Be there. And also for everyone that is joining us, it's going to be a great time in UK. Aleasha. Oh, it's going to be a great time. Angel Global Promotion UK presents Aleasha. It's going to be a lovely time. And I'm inviting every one of you. Let's go there. It's on the 15th of November, 2024. You should be there. One of the great Nigerian musician, Malaika, will be there as well. That will be entertaining us. Don't miss Aleasha. It's going to be a great time in UK. 15 November 2024. Put it in your diary. It's going to happen. Raw, real. Be there. Don't miss out. Let's celebrate our culture. Let's celebrate our language. Let's celebrate our food. Dress in your African attire. Come, Let's celebrate this great time. Angel Global Promotion UK is calling every one of you. On the 15th November 2024. Be there. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. This is where we're going to be drawing the curtain for today. I'm going to see you again by the grace of God. Please keep sharing it, keep talking about it. This is the African Portal Radio TV International. Happy Independence Day to Nigerians in advance. Please share, like, comment. I will see you again by the grace of God. Tomorrow, we have a lot of program coming up on the African Portal. Don't miss it. Don't change the dial. Watch, like, comment. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye for now.